I'm loving LeAnn.
I'm loving LeAnn.
I'm loving LeAnn.
I am loving LeAnn.
I'm loving LeAnn.
I'm loving LeAnn.
Good evening, family, community. I am super excited to be here with you tonight. I have a surprise for you, and even my guest does not realize that he is the inaugural show of Communi-T. Yes, I came up with Communi-T in another event. But as I venture out and I do branch out on the Loving LeAnn brand and being a media personality, a host, a red carpet extraordinaire, all those great things, I'm excited to launch Communi-T in this space where the community needs to come together. We have a lot of conversations that need to be had. I'm always going to be silly. I'm always going to be fun, but I'm always about business, you know? So I am super, super thrilled to introduce to you my guest tonight, I'll tell you, it was a little selfishness that I reached out to this young man because I now live in Douglas County. And I am looking at all these candidates and I'm like, how do I choose? So, loving LeAnn, I am a thinker. I like to make decisions, not just off popularity, not off any really surface, just because that's who they said we're supposed to vote for. I want to make an informed decision. I'm an independent thinker. And so when Judge Hedge and I started communicating, I was just like, okay, win my vote. Not just win my vote, though, but tell the people who you are. I wanted him to let Douglas County, let people know who he is. And he doesn't realize that he's over on here, too, because he's going to give us a little political science lessons, too, because
Sure.
one truth that I know is a lot of people vote based on what they've heard, but we don't really have that information to really just make informed decisions.
Sure.
We're just very emotional. We don't even know how all of this works. Government is a daunting engine, if I can say the least. So we're going to get into a lot of conversation, and I'm super excited. I know you could be doing anything on this Friday night, you and your wife out here just taking over the world, or if nothing else, sitting back at home, kicking your feet up, just saying, I'm going to decompress from the week. But you took a few moments to be with me, and I am so forever grateful. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And LeAnn, I'll tell you, I was really honored that you extended the invite, and I was happy to do it. I know that this is essentially the first time that we've formally met, if you will, but I'm a big proponent that folks should, in fact, make informed decisions. I was actually having a conversation with one of my buddies earlier in the week, and we were talking about, voting is an emotional thing because you want to feel connected with the candidate, whoever they are. And that's an important consideration to make. An equally important consideration is that connection being based on what you know, not necessarily what you heard or what you've seen or a sign on the side of the road or what have you. So I'm really excited for this opportunity, and I can't wait to get into it.
Certainly. Well, hey, friends, hey, family, community, we are introducing to you. So first, I'm going to even throw his title away because what I know to be true is nobody cares how much you know until they know that you care.
That's right.
So this is my friend, part of our community, Zaine Hedge. And thank you again for being here. So let's just jump in. You feel good? You feel loose?
I'm good to go. We can go wherever you want to go. Let's make it happen.
Well, you know what? Let's have a little fun first because
Okay.
I'm also going to, I'm going to test your knowledge on some things. I've already identified that you're younger than I need you to be, but stay with me. My questions may. So we're going to call this rapid response, and you just have to pick one. I'm going to give you two Two options, and you just have to pick one, and you can't think about it. You got to go with your
Okay.
heart. You got
This
it?
is gonna be great.
You got it? Let's go. Okay, rapid response. All right, Biggie or Tupac?
Biggie.
Pizza or burgers?
Pizza.
Mountains or beach?
Mountains. Too easy.
William Murphy or William McDowell?
Ooh, William McDowell.
Okay. New Edition or Boys to Men?
Boys to Men.
Horror or sci-fi?
Sci-fi.
Lemonade or tea?
Lemonade.
Wine or beer?
Ooh, beer.
You did great. Good job.
Look for that last one. It's really neither. I'm not enough of a connoisseur to know anything about wine, and I can't stand beer. So, it is what it is.
I gave you no C option. I told you had to pick one.
That's
and
right.
You did what you needed to. You followed the rules.
Mm-hmm.
So have you been a rule abider all your life? You know how you grow up and you just have those people that are just like, nope, I'm going to do it this way and this way.
Sure.
Are you kind of a rebel? Where are you?
I'm definitely not a rebel. I will tell you that, as a man, when I was a boy, of course, I got into stuff. It is what it is. That's just kind of what happens. But I come from a very structured family. My dad is Jamaican, and so he's all about, hey, we're going to do it this way. My mom is a retired Army vet, and so she's built in that structure and discipline in the house. So I come from a household that's built on structure, and so I tend to structure my life in that regard. I'm a firm believer that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So,
absolutely, that is one of the philosophies that I live by. And when I meet people, I feel like I don't have a hard time discerning who people are really early. And it's not because I have this superpower. One, it's just because I truly, truly love people. I have a love for people. And when you love people, you observe, you engage. And really quickly, I'm able to kind of know what's important to them.
Yeah.
Know how they move, their, just little quirks.
Yeah.
Everybody will tell you I'm quirky and I'm okay with that. I love being different. And so that's okay. So tell me, what makes you different? Just as an individual. We're not even talking about that political arena.
Sure. So there's a few things that make me different. I agree that if you want to march to the beat of your own drum, you should do that. Something that my wife probably wouldn't want me to share, but I'm very proud of this, is I am a very, very staunch collector of rare Monopoly boards. That's just something that I love. I love the game of Monopoly. And so that's something that I appreciate. Something else that makes me different is, I'm incredibly simple. You hear people say that they're simple all the time, but when I say I'm simple, I mean, I'm very simple. So I will go to the same gas station, no matter where I'm at, to get gas. I will take the same route in Publix when I'm going grocery shopping. When I get to the office in the morning, I will literally walk the same path, put my bag down in the same place, sit in my chair before I do anything else. I'm just a creature of habit. And I feel like that will allow me to free up mental room for some of the more important things. So
I absolutely agree with that. And so some of my personality is really spontaneous and just kind of flighty. But when I need to be organized, I must do the same. If I go to work late, my whole day is just catastrophic. It takes me so long to just refocus, just get back there. So I definitely can relate to that. And then other times, and I tell people I have to have very structured work because other stuff that's going on in my head, it's not so structured. So I totally understand. So what is What is you brought up your wife. What is that one little nuance that you have that she's just like, if I could get him to stop doing this, other than those monopolies?
Probably in the middle of conversation, every chance I get, making some sort of reference to something else. So I love puzzles. I love wit. I love puns. I love metaphors, things like that. And I'm always looking for an opportunity to do that. The other day, The other day we were watching Stranger Things, and it's all sci-fi and all that sort of thing for anybody who doesn't know about it. And one of the characters said something, and I just kind of made a joke, and she said, "It is real." And I said, "Jerusalem?" And she was like, "What?" And I said, "Look, you said it is real, and you put them together, it's Israel." Then you see what I think it's an incredible skill. Just saying.
I thought you did well. Thank you.
know.
Yes. We can see you on Wednesday at this.
That's exactly right. Hey, y'all, I'm here all week. Thank you very much.
All week. I love it. That's amazing. And you have to have a sense of humor, especially in this climate, in this.
Yeah.
You have a very serious job. So if you can't find time to laugh and just, release, that's not a good quality of life. So
Right.
I am glad that you have that sense of humor and all that greatness within yourself. So when did it come to you that you were going to be an attorney, when you were going to go to law school and take that path?
I love to tell this story. So I don't think they make the kids do it anymore. But when I was in 6th grade, I took an aptitude test, and the results said that I would either be an attorney or an author. Well, I mean, I was 11 years old, so I knew everything about everything. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll never write a book, so I guess I'm just going to be a lawyer. And literally that just set the trajectory of my life towards the law. The funny thing is, 5 years ago, I actually did write a book. So it turns out that those aptitude tests aren't too far off. But I mean, literally that was kind of how it went. And then when I got ready for law school, I knew that this was the path I was going to take because I made the decision a long time ago. And when I got into law school, I knew I was exactly where I needed to be. The Lord had put me right in the exact right place I needed to be at the exact right time. And after passing the bar exam, I love to tell folks when they ask me, hey, how do you feel about your job? Do you like your job? I wouldn't rather be doing anything else.
That is awesome too, because so many people are out here in life and they're moving. And so I'm going to trust that you're a reader.
Yep.
Dr. Miles Monroe is one of my most favorite teachers and always talking about purpose. And so when you're in that space of purpose, you find that joy, like that.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not having a great day at work, but I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not, this is not the best conditions that I'd like to enjoy, but I love what I do. I do it regardless.
That's right.
And so I love that for you. Where are your priorities? So tell me a little bit, shape that. I know you have, as a man, as a successful man, there's a lot of things. So how would you prioritize what's important to you in your life?
Yeah, so I am proud to say that I am going to be a dad. So my wife is let's see, it's May, so about 7 months pregnant now.
You're real pregnant.
Yeah. We right around the corner, and I'm having a boy, so I'm super excited about that too.
Yes.
So there's that. Of course, we're spinning a lot of plates right now, and so we're having to really prioritize based on the limited time that we have for each thing. Like, so she's doing a couple of months. We're moving into a new house in a week from today. Of course, the election is 10 days away now. So just a whole lot of things happening at once. But we're doing the family thing, we're doing the professional thing, and we're just trying to keep ourselves afloat. Things are going well. It's just a lot to handle all at once.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that you both are doing it with such grace. So on those days where you feel like it's about to, Loving LeAnn said, you got this.
That's right.
No, you do. And I know that you're a man of faith. And how does faith play in your overall decision making in what you do when you're on the bench? Yeah,
absolutely. So it's everything. It's everything because it's the thing that I know I can go to when those days are really hard. My wife and I just had a conversation about this. Today's Friday, so it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. And we were having one of those conversations where, because she's pregnant, she's got a lot going on and she leans on me a lot in this season, and that's totally okay. But what we were talking about is, she was saying at the same time, hey, I just want you to know you can lean on me too. And what I told her is like, dear, I believe you and I trust you. And I know that that's true, but you have to understand that when it comes to how we do things, You need to lean on me because I'm your husband. And then my number one priority is I need to lean on the Lord. It's not to say that I don't bring things to you. It's not to say that I don't trust you or that I don't be vulnerable with you or anything like that. But it's just kind of how the way the hierarchy works, I guess, if I can use that phraseology. And so, the Lord has brought me through a lot. He has sustained me when I didn't think that there was any way to go. And even as recently as this season started, we had an issue with some finances, and my wife, I mean, she's incredibly industrious. And so she's like, oh yeah, just let me know. I got it. It's no problem. And I told her, I said, I know you do. And I know I can depend on you, but the Lord is telling me in this moment that I need to wait, that he's going to make it work. And he made it work. And not only did he make it work, but he turned on the faucet of heaven. So it was all great. It was really wonderful.
Thank you for sharing. That's a testimony.
Absolutely.
That's a testimony. And he's 10 out of 10. He's never failing.
I'm telling you.
Every time I feel it, I hear it, and I know it to be true. So that's awesome. So I know in some spaces that you have to kind of told this line of how much do you get to talk about your faith? How much do you let somebody know that I am weighing faith in this decision when it's just like, nope, this is matter of fact. How do you navigate those spaces?
Sure. So when it comes to the work that I do in the courtroom, that is a very tepid thing, because what we don't want Douglas County catching a lawsuit for no reason. But what I can tell you is every time I come into the office in the morning before I do anything, once again, it's my wife. What she did, she bought me for my last birthday, she bought me this tiny little deck of cards. It had like 111 pieces of wisdom from the Bible, and they're like front and back, so it's really like 200 something. And before I start doing anything, I take out a card. I might take out 2, depending on if it's a hard day. I might take out 3, but I just read a little wisdom from the Lord. And what it does is it centers me, it refocuses me, it stabilizes me, so that when I go out on the bench, I can be confident that I'm making the right decisions. And sometimes those decisions disturb my flesh. I mean, it just is what it is, because we're talking about very serious things. But when I know that I have centered myself, when I know that the Lord is the guidepost for me when I go out there, I'm more confident about what I do when I do it.
Absolutely. And so we are going to pivot, because I definitely want to get into all of the reason that you're here.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
We do want to, but I do want to understand. So you said a lot, and I love it. I love that. I love that you recognize that sometimes decisions you have to make don't necessarily sit well with you for the moment. And so, and when we're right now in this climate, I know it's your faith, but what are just some strategic skills that you have to apply to make the hard decisions?
Yeah. So the good thing is that we get a lot of guidance from the higher courts. And so there are certain considerations that we have to make. Like, just as an example, when we're talking about deciding whether a person is entitled to bond when they get arrested and they come before me for a first appearance, we have to decide whether they're a danger to the community or the victim. We have to decide whether they are likely to commit a felony. We have to decide whether they are likely to flee the jurisdiction. And we have to decide, I always get this last one. We have to decide whether they are likely to reoffend if they are granted a bond. And so the using those guidelines, a lot of the times we can get a pretty good picture of what's happening. Somebody comes into the courtroom and this is their 15th arrest. And out of those arrests, 12 of them involve theft crimes. Well, we know that there's something going on there. Maybe it's a mental health thing. Maybe it is a lack of resources thing. And so we're able to kind of analyze that through the lens of what the law requires us to consider to determine, how to make the right decision. And, there are times where I have to make a decision that I don't want to make because the law compels me to, but I don't think necessarily in that moment it's the right decision. I'll give you one really quick. I can't use any names because I believe their case is still open. But there was a young lady who came in my courtroom. Today's Friday, so it was just yesterday. She came in my courtroom yesterday, and she was charged with violating a family protective order. Now, ordinarily, what will happen is if a person has a TPO, a temporary protective order, or an order to stay away from somebody because of bond conditions, well, if they violate that, then usually that's a felony. That's an aggravated stalking charge. And I will tell you that when she got when that order was in place, she had come to see me soon thereafter, and I had reinstituted that particular term and condition, and she went out and ignored it almost immediately. But because the law enforcement agency drew up the warrant as a misdemeanor, the law required me to give her a bond. And I told her, I said, listen, I need you to know that following bond conditions is incredibly important. Now, fortunately for you, law enforcement has drafted this up as a misdemeanor. And so the law requires that I grant you a bond. But I just need you to understand that if we find out that you have violated this order or another order by another judge, again, I can't tell you what law enforcement is going to do. But if they bring an aggravated stalking charge forward, it's not going to go the same way. And so you need to take these terms and conditions seriously. And so, but in a situation like that, you know, some people might be a little cavalier, but the law required me to make that decision, and I did.
Absolutely. I don't know. Are you a Judge Joe Brown? A Judge? Are you more like Judge Judy? Where are you?
So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I have no idea because I don't watch any of those shows. I don't watch any of the judge shows. I don't watch any of the legal shows, Law and Order, SVU.
You never even watched Court TV with Judge Wapner? Like the Judge Wapner? Oh, man.
Can't do it because this is what my wife says every time either a commercial comes on or that we're watching something, they have like a courtroom scene. She says, you're not going to like this. I said, you're absolutely right. I'm not, because it's all fake. It's not even close. It's not even close. You know, makes for good TV, not so much in real life.
Right. Makes good TV, but
that's
yeah.
Right.
I totally get that. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. And when I come back, we are going to get into why we're here today, other than to have fun, but definitely, like I said, you're gonna teach the public a lot, and I trust that you're the person to do it. So give us just a brief moment, and we'll be right back with you.
I have the privilege of working with Georgia injury attorneys in a capacity that encompasses the community. When you hear about Georgia injury attorneys, it's a familiar face, people that you know that you can trust. We practice litigation, but we live people.
You deserve a law firm that will level the playing field against insurance companies. Call Georgia injury attorneys the people's champs for just compensation and trusted representation.
All right, guys, welcome back. You know who it is, Georgia Injury Attorneys, one of my number one sponsors. And I must admit that I'm a little biased because I am the director of community engagement over at GIA. And we are we're just always excited about how we help people. And we're excited about the work that we do in the community. You'll see us, when you see me, it's literally not about litigation. It's all about helping the community, being community leaders, being community partners, and getting it done. So thank you to attorney Brian Poe and attorney Jamie Cox Poe, the power couple and the power partners there at Georgia Injury Attorneys. And I just wanted to let you guys know a little bit about what's been going on with me, because I have been a little off the grid. And so I have been selected to do a TEDx talk. Yay, go me. I am super, super excited. Also a little nervous. No, I'm not going to say nervous, because I tell my fiance, don't say nervous. Say that we're just super enthusiastic about whatever it is. And so it just kind of changes the trajectory. But I know it's not going to be easy, but I am ready for it. I've probably seen TED Talks for probably a decade, or I just live in that space. And so to be able to do a TEDx Alabaster talk, super, super thrilled. And you get the chance to join me if you like. It is outside of Birmingham in Shelby County, Alabaster, Alabama. And it is August the 1st. There are early bird tickets now on sale. And if you're interested, let me know. I can definitely send you that link. And Loving LeAnn, there's not a whole lot of complication to me. We'll be talking about how to love on one another, how to just be better to one another, or interactions. And so, yeah, so just follow me on this journey because I am super, super thrilled. So back to the reason we're here. We are here with Judge Zaine Hedge. I have learned in just this short time that he is a mighty man of valor. You are a very impressive person outside the robe. I haven't even gotten to that part, but a man of faith, a husband, a soon-to-be dad, proud son of some very impressive people, and so all that, and a Douglas County native, or
yeah, I've lived here since I was a kid.
Right. Okay. And graduated from Douglas High School.
County High School. I love to tell people. That's right.
Okay. What's the mascot over there?
The tiger.
The tiger. Okay. So tell me about that. So you graduated from Douglas County. You
graduated from Douglas County, went to Reinhardt University up in Cherokee County. When I was getting ready to graduate, I kind of wanted to get out of Georgia for just a little bit. And so I went to the Charleston School of Law in Charleston, South Carolina. I was there for 2.5 years, and I came back, passed the bar exam, and then opened a law office with my dad.
I knew. Impressive. That's the Hedge name, right? And
yeah, that's right.
So do you have, because I don't really hear a Caribbean dialect. Do you have one?
No. So I am very, people often tell me they can't pinpoint where I'm from because I don't really carry much of anything. But, you know, when I'm in the house with my dad or when we go back to Jamaica, I do in fact speak Patois, but it's not something that happens a lot. My wife even tells me that the couple of times she hears me talking to my bro, he's Trinidadian, and sometimes she has no idea what we're saying. And I tell you, that's kind of the point. You know, we get to do that. You know.
So for my own selfish reasons, is there any good Jamaican food around here? I can't find any Caribbean food in Douglasville.
Sure. So in Douglasville, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know the name of her business. I just know her as Dawn. Dawn is a culinary artist, but she's got Caribbean roots. And so she always sells Caribbean food on Saturdays and Sundays. She's parked at the Texaco on Fairburn Road, usually from like 1 to 6 or something like that. That's the only place I would go to get some food. If you want to be completely honest, there's a really nice Caribbean spot that's in Fairburn. It's actually my wife's spot, and they are about as close to authentic as you can get.
Wow, your wife is Caribbean?
No, she's not.
Okay.
Oh.
That's okay. Look, well, I will definitely visit those. I love a good oxtail dish. Just to, anyway. So you ran for 2024. A campaign in 2024. Will you?
I did. I ran for Superior Court 2 years ago.
Okay. And so what catapulted you? What attracted you to want to get into this political space?
Yeah, sure. So if I'm being honest with you, LeAnn, I don't really like the idea of judges being political. I just don't think that makes a whole lot of sense when it comes to the nature of the job. But, you know, it's the system that we have in Georgia. And so when I was in law school, I had an opportunity to see the South Carolina Court of Appeals put on an actual real legal argument for the law students. And I'll never forget the chief judge at the time. He made it abundantly clear that even though we were talking about appellate law, which there's not a whole lot of theatrics, there's not a jury, anything like that, you're just arguing about the law. He made it very clear that he understood his decisions had impacts on real people. It's only the attorneys there, but he recognized that those attorneys represented somebody who cared deeply about that issue. And when I saw that, I said, you know, that I want that, you know, that would be wonderful. And so I decided in law school that I would want to be a judge. And so when I had a chance to run 2 years ago, I did run. We were unsuccessful, but it gave me a lot of necessary experience. It gave me a lot of opportunities to learn about myself, about the things that really mattered. And so when this opportunity became available, and, you know, thank the Lord I was able to be successful in it, it turned out to be exactly what I needed. It was actually a better fit than what I was running for 2 years ago.
Oh, that's amazing. Once again, that it always lines up.
I'm telling you.
So for the people out there, so like I said, now take me into just FAQ, just anything. okay, I know there's superior, I know there's
Mhm.
magistrate, you're the chief magistrate judge. What does
Yep.
that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So, magistrate court is a court of limited jurisdiction. That means there are certain things that we handle, and we're not allowed to handle other things. So, we do bond hearings, first appearance bond hearings. We do preliminary hearings. We do small claims. We do evictions. We do abandoned motor vehicles. We do ordinances. There's a whole host of things. The way I like to describe it to people is my main job is to decide whether to let people out of jail, to decide whether people owe other people money, and to decide whether people get to stay in their homes. And so there's three very big responsibilities that I have as the chief magistrate.
And you were appointed initially?
That's right. That's right. So the chief magistrate who was in the position beforehand, she'd been in the position for 25 plus years. And the governor recently appointed her to a state court position. State court deals with misdemeanors and civil suits. And so when her position became open, there was an application process. I think there was like 8 or 10 of us that applied. We applied to the Superior Court here in Douglas County, and then the full panel has to make a decision about who's going to be appointed to the seat. And then, of course, thank the Lord, I was able to be successfully appointed. And so now I have to run in this upcoming election.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And hey, you've already made the community proud. And so now that we're moving into this campaign.
Sure.
So first of all, were we pregnant before you started this campaign? Or did it all kind of, you decided, we were pregnant to run for office?
Listen. So here's the crazy thing, LeAnn. It's what you've been saying. It's just the way that the Lord lines things up. So before I even got appointed to the position, we got pregnant. So had no idea what was going to happen, had no idea what was coming next. And if I'm being completely vulnerable with you for a second, I was wary about us getting pregnant so soon because, as a man, I always want to make sure that I'm in a position to be able to take care of my family. I'm in a position to be able to lead my household properly. But it really was an act of faith. And so literally right after we got pregnant, the appointment process started with Judge Camp getting appointed to state court. So the chief magistrate seat became open. And then that's right when I got appointed then. And after I got appointed, we started the work. And it wasn't until qualifying week that I know that I was going to have to run in a contested election. And so all of these sorts of things kind of happened once right after the other. But it really is a beautiful thing because you get to see how the Lord sustains you piece by piece. A lot of the times we feel like we got to know the whole story. A lot of times we feel like we got to be able to see what's coming around the corner. And what I know that the Lord requires of us is joyful obedience. It's, hey, trust me in this moment and see what I can do. And I can tell you, LeAnn, I've been in a lot of positions in my life where I wasn't sure how it was going to work. Didn't know if the faith answer was really the right answer. And after being obedient, I love to look at it like the Lord saying to me, you didn't know I could do that, did you? So.
Yes. I tell you, he's 10 out of 10. Never failed. His record is flawless. Mm-hmm. Flawless, impeccable. Mm-hmm. And so now that we're transitioning into this space, what should voters expect of the chief magistrate judge? Like, what are we? Sure. Okay, so what do we expect of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think there's 4 things that people should expect of any judge. It should be an individual who's got the necessary experience. It should be the individual who has a history of serving the community. It should be an individual who has the background in running the court efficiently. And it should be an individual who has an impeccable reputation. And so I'm fortunate that I check all 4 of those boxes. Experience-wise, I was an attorney in private practice for a little over 12 years before I got appointed. My dad and I, we had a personal injury and criminal defense firm. My dad, because he's Jamaican, he's very, this is how we're going to do it. He didn't want to do criminal law at all. And so literally all the criminal cases fell on me. And so what that meant was that I was a trial by fire sort of thing. I was just thrown in the pool. I got a chance to learn some pretty hard lessons pretty early. But what it did is it primed me to be better prepared. It primed me to have a better understanding of what to expect. And it primed me to get an in-depth look at the criminal process from start to finish. I've handled cases, everything from low-level traffic offenses all the way up to serious drug crimes. I even had one attempted murder case. And so what we're talking about is the breadth of experience necessary to be able to navigate those matters that are going to come before the magistrate court. I mean, every criminal case starts at magistrate court because it starts with an arrest warrant or a search warrant. And then, of course, you have to deal with the bond issue. And the other thing is my dad, because he's Jamaican, he never misses an opportunity to try to teach me something. And so while he's doing all the civil work, he's always making sure, now, son, come over here and learn this. Come over here and figure out how to navigate this. What kind of issues are we facing here? And so, you know, I got it from both sides. I was able to get that experience from both sides. And so by the time I got to the bench, I had nearly 1,000 cases where I was sole counsel. It was all up to me. When it comes to the community service aspect, I'm a firm believer that no matter what position you have, if you're in a position of leadership, you have to have a track record of serving the community that you're seeking to lead. LeAnn, my wheelhouse, the thing that gets my gears turning, the thing that makes my heart smile is young people. And so as soon as I got out of law school and passed the bar exam, the first thing I did was go and try to find a mentoring program where I could sit and mentor a young boy, a young man. Sometimes they were older than 18. So that they know that they have options. There's an unfortunate stereotype, LeAnn, especially in the Black community, and especially in the Black male community, where the only way you can be successful in life is you either play a sport, you either get into the music industry, or nowadays it's kind of you be the YouTuber, the streamer, the social media influencer, things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But my hope was when somebody who looked like me sees me, would be able to say, hey, well, he did it, and he's not 70 years old, so it's not like I'm going to have to wait my whole life to be able to see the fruits of my labor. Maybe I can do something like that too. And I just love to tell this really quick story because I know we got limited time. The high school mock trial program, sponsored by the Georgia State Bar, we had our tournament here in Douglas County the last weekend of January or the first weekend of February. I can't remember which one. And after I judged around, I do it every year. This young boy came to me, couldn't have been more than 15. Really, really, really big kid. Could have 6'3", 270. He looked like he should have played a sport, is really what it was. But he chose academia. And he stopped me and he said, hey, I just want to tell you, thank you so much. We really appreciate you judging. I said, hey, sure, no problem. I mean, I love doing this sort of thing on a Saturday. And then he said, and I just need you to know that it was really cool to see you up there. And LeAnn, every time I say that, I get a little emotional because it tells me that where I am, what I'm doing is making a difference. I'm doing the right thing. If somebody gets to see me and gets inspired to, hey, I can do that too. I can go to law school, or I can go to med school, or I can be a high-ranking officer in the military, or I can start my own business, whatever. If they see me and they believe that, then I know that the Lord has put me exactly where I need to be. And I have a whole lot of other community service I'm happy to go into, but being able to run a court efficiently is also incredibly important because you're talking about high volume. The magistrate court in Douglas County has more than 14,000 case filings every year. And so what that means is people are filing suit all the time, every single day, multiple times a day. And what I know is that when you talk about that high volume, if you don't have smart machines in place, if you don't have smart systems in place, it's easy to get behind. When I got into court, when I got into this position, we had a backlog of over 5,000 cases. So that means that when December 31st rolls around, there are about 5,000 cases that were rolling over to the next year. And so when I got into office, one of the first things I did was I introduced myself to all of my staff. I learned their names because that's incredibly important. I learned their roles and their responsibilities. And then I just kind of, hey, well, can I move you over here? Can I ask you to do this work right here? Because I was able to kind of analyze their skills, analyze their strong suits. And literally just by doing that and letting them know that I'm creating a culture of excellence in the office, we've already reduced the backlog by more than 600 cases. And I'm really proud of that because that means that if we are able to keep the momentum, even if we don't increase the efficiency anymore from that point, we know that if we can keep that momentum, we can get that backlog reduced all the way down to zero in a little over 2 years. It would be the first time where my staff would not feel like they're drowning in paperwork, And what we know is that when your staff are happy, when they are pleased with the work environment, they're going to be more efficient anyway. So it's been an incredible thing. And then the last thing I'll say, LeAnn, is reputation matters. We know that unfortunately there are some political leaders who get into office and they act a fool. It is what it is. But, what I've been blessed to be able to do is establish a reputation, one, of being an excellent attorney, but also being a fair and excellent judge. I get compliments from law enforcement. I get compliments from the private bar. I get compliments from the DA's office. And, I take those compliments to heart because I care about being excellent. I care about doing the job well. And when you have a background that is impeccable, when you have a background that is based on doing good work, people see that. People come to expect that, which is how they hold you accountable. But people see that, and it's just a wonderful thing. I had a judge in a few jurisdictions over going west, and she actually asked me to come and sit in her courtroom as a visiting judge to handle one of her calendars because of the reputation that I've already been able to establish. I'm really proud of that fact, and it's just a testament to the good work that we're doing.
Absolutely. Everything I do is based out of faith. If anyone's ever watched the Love and LeAnn show, we are on a faith-based radio station. So all I was thinking is Colossians 3, 23, 3 and 23, doing 2. It's unto the Lord that we do the work.
That's
and,
right. That's right.
As long as that philosophy is followed, even when, sometimes you may question, am I making the right decision? Am I doing the right thing in real time? Because I know you're working in real time.
That's right.
You can rest at night saying, you know what? I did the best with what I had in just a heart of loving people.
Absolutely.
And so that's beautiful. And I was going to ask you about community, because I'll tell you what peeves me about politicians is I've never seen you out there until now you want my vote. So having a stellar community participation, community activism record is huge. So to know that you have that is great. So what do you see being on the bench? You have so many opportunities to continue to reach people. Yep. Do you have a vision for? I mean, this is just a layover for the big picture. So what do you want to do with this time that you have on the
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So the thing that will make me the most pleased with the work that we've done is twofold. It's to make the judiciary more approachable, and it's to keep the efficiency of the court going. And that, as I talked about it a minute ago, the efficiency is so important because when people come to court, they come to court with legal problems, legal business, and they want their business handled quickly. It allows them to make decisions, whether you're talking about somebody who needs to know, hey, I think this person did me wrong. Well, they want to know whether that's true legally quickly so they can go about their life, whether it's to expect to get paid back or whether it's to, hey, I had my day in court and now I got to put this behind me and keep trucking. But, the approachability aspect, LeAnn, is very personal to me. And it's very personal to me because I personally believe that it's a problem if the community doesn't know their leaders. And what I mean by that is it's nice if you know their names. It's nice if you drive down the road and you see their signs. Oh, okay, that person's in, that seat or whatever. Okay, that's cool. But do you know your leaders? The people who are in positions to impact your life. Do you know them? Do you know who they are? Do you know what they're about? Do you have the ability to have a relationship with them? That's incredibly important to me. And so one of the things that I've tried to do to some great success is make the judiciary more approachable. LeAnn, I tell people all the time, if you see me in Publix, say hello. I like talking to people anyway. So, it really is a pleasure for me. But yeah, come and talk to me. If you have an idea about how we can improve the court, come and see me. You don't have to make an appointment. You don't have to tell anybody that you're coming. Our courtroom is open, and I welcome you to come in so you can see what we're doing. Number one, so you can kind of have an idea about what the court system is all about. Number two, so when you come to court, if you have legal business in the future, it's not the first time you've been there. And number three, because you should feel welcome. It's a court. It's the people's place. You should feel welcome to be there. And I believe that people should know who their leaders are. I ran into a guy last week. He had come to the court. I was doing some videography stuff for the campaign, and he'd come to the courthouse to vote. He got there after 6, so he wasn't able to vote. He said, hey, man, can I vote here? I said, yeah, but it's after 6, so the polls are closed. You have to come back tomorrow or come on the weekend. He said, oh, man, well, can you help me, find out where I can go vote where it might be more convenient? I said, yeah, sure. Just give me your phone. And I brought up the Douglas County Elections website, and I scrolled down and I said, look, here's the calendar right here. So you know exactly where you can vote for early voting. You know exactly how long the polls are going to be open. And so you can go to whichever one is most convenient for you. He said, cool. Can you show me how to pull my ballot up? Oh, yeah. No, you just scroll down and here, there's a link right here. And if you let me just see your phone real quick, go ahead and copy the link. I'll send a text message to yourself. So now you can just click the link whenever you're ready. And he said, oh, man, I appreciate that. Thank you. So who are you? Oh, I said, well, I'm Zaine. I'm one of your judges. And LeAnn, I kid you not, his exact words were, I don't think I've ever talked to a judge ever. And I think that's an issue because these are the people who make decisions for the community. And so I tell people, please come and talk to me. Even if it's not about anything legal, if you literally just want to talk, if you want to talk about Monopoly, I'll talk to you all day, come and talk to me. Because when you can approach your leaders, when you have that relationship with your leaders, when you know who your leaders are, you know if they're doing the right thing. And if they're not doing the right thing, you know how to hold them accountable. And that's incredibly important if somebody wants to be in a position of leadership.
Certainly. And I'm glad we kind of you're talking a little bit about ethics because it is so disheartening. And twofold. One, I know, where there's clergy or whatever, everybody says people are still people are still human. And I get that. I'm living a very human experience myself, flawed and all. However, when, you get these positions and there's so much expectation and integrity matters. And we fumble that ball. And it's so hard to rebuild that trust. And we reflect each other. So now I'm talking about who we are as a people. We're back in the community. When a Black official fumbles that integral ball, it impacts all of us. It hurts. And people are always because we know media is skewed. Yeah, we've got a flawed system across and I'm sure there's a lot, but it just hits us much harder. So how do you keep yourself? Because there's a lot of things being a judge. There's a lot of people that can slide you favorites. You just have this position of people vying for everything that you can do for them, and sometimes it's very lucrative.
Yeah.
How are you navigating that in real time, practical? I just need to know where that line is because it's so easy to cross.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing, it starts with the rules of ethics that we have to follow. We have something called the Judicial Canon of Ethics, and it's essentially a rule book that judges have to follow. Now, there's a whole bunch of rules in there that you got to know about, but the two big ones that you hear about is you can't engage in any activity that would suggest any impropriety. That's kind of like a catch-all, but it's what allows us to, hey, could this be interpreted some kind of way? If it can, I could just go ahead and take a step back. And the other thing, of course, when you talk about campaigning specifically, is don't do anything funny with the money. But these are things that you would think are pretty straightforward, pretty commonsensical sorts of things. Whether you're a judge or not, you don't want to be doing stuff where people are looking at you sideways like, what has he got going on? And you don't want to ever be in a position where people call into question what you're doing with other people's money. Now, I'll tell you to the point that you made a second ago about it being potentially very lucrative. Yeah, I mean, there's people who want to take you to lunch all the time. There's people who want to, hey, I'd love you to hear this business idea. I'd love you to invest in this and whatever. And I just tell people the same thing. It's like, if you want to go to lunch, that's great. It's on me. I'm happy to do it. You will not buy me lunch. I don't care if it's a steak or if it's a McDouble from McDonald's. You're just not going to pay for it because nobody's going to ever be able to say, oh, well, you remember that one time I took you to lunch? Or you remember that one time when you just don't put yourself in those positions. I actually went to lunch with one of my buddies on Monday, and good kid. He's a little younger than me. He's not a kid. Good guy. We've had a relationship for the past 6 years or so. He's worked in Douglas County government in the past. Really great person. And all he wanted to do was hang out. He wanted to hang out. He wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening in life. And I had to get up and go pretty quickly. And he was like, hey, man, I know you're super busy. You got a campaign going on. It's on me. I said, no, don't even worry about it. It's on me. We'll spend some time the next time. And then the next time we could split the bill. But this one's on me. And you just make sure that you don't ever get so close to that line. But more importantly, LeAnn, it all comes back to the personal set of values and principles that you have. Something that my dad tells me, and people think that he's joking, and I know he's not joking, but it is funny when he says it. You know, he'll say to me periodically, son, you know, I'm getting up in age. He's not that old. I'm getting up in age. If I die tomorrow, I need you to make sure that you are able to take care of your family and that you're able to take care of your mother. And if your grandmother's still around, you take care of her too. I said, you're dad. Absolutely. Absolutely. And he'll say, and if there's one thing that I just need you to do, this is the thing I need you to do above all else. What is it, Dad? No matter what you are doing in life, no matter where you are, I just need you to make sure that when you go outside the house, that you don't go out and embarrass your mother. He says it, and he's being very serious. And I know exactly what he means. And I'll tell you, LeAnn, I think about that. You know, I think about that. Is something that I'm doing, if my dad found out, would he be disappointed because, not because I did it, but because of how it would make my mom feel? And that kind of, that keeps me exactly where I need to be, I'm gonna tell you. And the other thing my dad would always tell me growing up is that he wears a size 12 and he's not afraid to use it if I get too fired. So you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, integrity absolutely does matter, LeAnn. And the way that we kind of navigate that is remembering that what we're doing is not for us. It's for the people that we serve. And just like I wouldn't want to embarrass my mother, I wouldn't want to embarrass Douglas County either.
Absolutely. And I love that. And thank you so much. That brings me joy and comfort. That brings me comfort because we do, you know, so many things are happening and when you were talking, I was like, shun even the looks of evil. That's all that kept coming. I was like, shun even the looks of, even if it looks a little wonky, you know, why not? I'd rather be on the side of right with no one being able to say my name versus just having to explain why I did what I did.
Correct.
So I love that philosophy. So what is your philosophy? What is the philosophy? Just that one thing, if I had to ask you, what is that philosophy that just in every part of your life that reigns?
Sure. That's really simple. Another thing that I got taught by my dad. My dad is an incredibly wise man, as funny as he can be. He would tell me, son, no matter how humble the work that you do, if you do it with excellence, it is noble work. And that's something that just permeates everything. So when I think about if I'm at home and I'm sweeping the floor, I think about when I was getting raised, son, either you're going to do the job right, or I'm going to make you find time to do it over. You take pride in what you're doing, whether it's sweeping the floor, whether it's driving down the road, whether it's putting on the black robe and making some serious decisions. If you approach what you do, if you approach who you are with excellence, what you are doing is noble work. And so that's why it kind of ties into my, you know, how important it is for me to be approachable and for people to feel like judges are approachable or judges should be approachable, because nobody's more important than anybody else. You know, we all just do different jobs. If I can just take a quick second, I love to tell the story. When I was in college, there were three older ladies. They worked in maintenance, and they were responsible for maintenance for the whole campus. I have no idea how they did their job, to be honest with you, because when I say older, I mean, they were 60 plus. And every time I would see them, hey, Miss Sharon, hey, how y'all doing? Hey, Zane, good to see you. There was one day where I was having a problem with my shower. Something was wrong with the shower head. Water wasn't coming out. I dialed the maintenance number. Hey, Miss Sherry, this is Zane from 322. How are you? Oh, I'm good. What you need, baby? Well, something's going on with my shower. Can somebody come and look at it? Sure, no problem. They came in 20 minutes. Problem got fixed. No problem. Couple doors down, a few weeks later, there were some rambunctious athletes on my hall, and they were, to say the least, not nearly as gentlemanly, I'll say. And, you know, dialed the maintenance number, and you can just tell based on the tenor of the conversation that they were essentially demanding that somebody who doesn't know how to do their job come and do their job to fix their toilet. I don't know where that kind of entitlement came from, but LeAnn, what I can tell you is it took them 3 days to come and fix the toilet. And while I probably shouldn't get some satisfaction from that, I did, because it was a testament to when you treat people well, things will go well. So whether you're a judge, whether you work in the clerk's office, whether you're a cashier at Publix or whatever, we're all valuable. We all have worth. We are all important. We just do different things. And so to bring it full circle, no matter what you do, if you do what you do with excellence, then what you are doing is in fact noble.
I love that. And I'm going to write that down. Look, just go ahead and text that to me. I will give your dad credit, but I will need
Okay. Sure.
I will give him credit, but I do need to use that. And I love that. And actually, I dropped my phone, but I want to ask you to help me on my ballot. Okay. So this is the part where I was like, okay. So now that we know that Douglas County NU will get a man of integrity, a man of community, a man of fairness, and a man that cares, just an overall good person that wants to represent the county. And now that we know that about you, so I pulled up this ballot. This ballot was to me the questions. So I don't even know how to answer these questions. Have you read? Well, I know you pulled it up on somebody's phone.
Sure.
So now, you know what? I'm not even going to make you, just for a new voter out there, somebody they just turned 18 this year.
Yep.
They don't really know. The questions are weird. The questions were really weird this year. Like, no, am I okay? Yeah, on both sides of the those are weird questions.
Yes. And LeAnn, I will tell you that they are designed to be that way because so here's what happens. So let me start by saying, because we talked about ethics, I'm not allowed to give legal advice and I'm not allowed to tell people how they should interpret anything on their ballot. Okay. So now that I put that disclaimer out there. The reason the questions are worded that way is because it gives the respective organizations, the respective parties, it tells them what voters are thinking, whether voters will agree or disagree with a particular idea. And so when all the ballots get counted, when all the answers to the questions get tabulated, and they say, oh, hey, look, for question number 2 on the Democratic ballot, we had an overwhelming 96.7% of people agree. Well, then the idea is, okay, well, now that we know that that's what voters agree with, we can draft a bill that utilizes those legal issues that will allow us to do the things that the voters agree with. Same thing on the Republican side. Hey, question number 1, we had 88.1% of people saying we do not want this. Okay, well, Senator so-and-so or House Rep so-and-so, looks like your idea got shot down, so that's not something that we're going to prioritize at the legislature. Here's the whole point, LeAnn. They're worded that way because they're trying to influence the answer is what it is.
Exactly.
They're worded in a way so that they can say, hey, well, you know, the constituents say that this is something that they care about. Well, if you word it in such a way where they can't say no, then of course you'll be able to say that there's something they care about. But that's kind of a part of the whole political game, which is why I said to you a little bit earlier, that's why I don't think that judges should be political. It's the system that we got. And so we got to navigate it. But, you know, judges are supposed to be right down the middle. They're supposed to be fair and impartial. They're not supposed to give credence to this side or this side. They're not supposed to give credence to somebody who has money, somebody who doesn't have money. Our job is simply to utilize the law. We have discretion so that we can utilize that in situations so fundamental fairness can be executed. But, you know, they're worded that way on purpose. And it's because it allows them to then utilize data to support the things that they want to support anyway. I mean, you know, you can't pass anything if the voters don't agree with it. But if you ask the voters whether they agree with it or, you know, destroying the sun, nobody wants to destroy the sun. So it's just kind of like, you know.
Now I'm just going to be cynical. I'm like, well, they can. I mean, but I won't. We don't have enough time for me to even do that. A lot of stuff is happening in this season. Yeah. I'm telling you. So just a couple last words. One, so like I said, as a voter, just not telling me how to vote, but when people are like, I don't really know how to vote, what would you tell somebody? How do you vote?
Yeah, sure. So the most important thing is once the sample ballot is out, get you a sample ballot, whatever party you with which you identify, or get all 3 so you can kind of compare and contrast if you want to do that. But get a sample ballot so you can see all the names of all the positions that people are running for. Now, with a ballot like we have this year, there's a whole lot of things on the ballot. There's a whole lot of people for each of those things on the ballot. So it can be a bit arduous, but it's the best way to make an informed decision. If you care about who's going to be insurance commissioner, look at all the folks who are running for insurance commissioner on both sides and Google them. They're going to have a website. Take a look at the website. I tell people, look, I have a website, but don't just look at my website because everybody's going to put all the good stuff on the website. Google them. Put their name in the search bar and see what comes up, because that'll tell you either who they really are or it'll tell you what they're trying to hide, and it'll give you a more complete picture of the individual. And then when you do that, you can say, hey, I Googled this person. First thing I saw was, they go to Miami every year and get drunk on the beach. That's not somebody who I want to represent me, and then you can just kind of do that with each individual person. And then after that, you just kind of have to analyze, okay, I'm down to two people. Which one more aligns with my values? Which one does a better job at representing my principles? Which one is a better fit for who I think is going to be a good job in a leadership position? And then after that, don't overthink it. Just commit to the vote. The good news is that depending on the seat, 2 years, 4 years, or 6 years from now, you can choose somebody else. So you have that option. But using the sample ballot is probably the best way to kind of get the answers that you're looking for.
So go in prepared. So I have my sample ballot. I've already started researching. Thank you, because you gave me the I had to do some research.
Yeah.
So thank you. Well, I promised you that I wouldn't keep you all on this Friday night, because I can, but I won't. So I'll let you leave me with any parting words. You get to say whatever you like. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, thank you so much, Judge Hedge, for taking this time with me. And I look to talk to you more. Now I'm going to have more questions. So
absolutely.
Hey.
Listen, look, it was my pleasure, LeAnn. Just thank you for the opportunity to be a part of your platform. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for a great conversation. I really do hope that your audience got a lot out of it. Hey, y'all, I'm Zaine Hedge. I'm your Douglas County Chief Magistrate Judge, and I'm running for re-election. I'm running for a full 4-year term. Longtime Douglas County resident. I have the experience, I have the reputation, I have the know-how, but more importantly, I represent Douglas County well. I represent Douglas County excellence. I love to tell folks that I graduated from Douglas County High School because I'm proud of the education that Douglas County gave me. And so being in this position is incredibly personal for me because it's an opportunity for me to reinvest in the community that invested in me first. So as your Chief Magistrate Judge, of course, we've been doing great work in the office, and I hope that you will go out to vote. If you haven't voted already, please make sure you get to one of the polls. Early voting, you've got another week to do it. You can Saturday vote tomorrow, but you got another week to do it. You can vote at Dog River Library, Woody Fight Senior Center, Lithia Springs Senior Center, Boundary Waters, Deer Lake Park, the big courthouse, and the old courthouse. So you've got options. Please make sure you go out to vote. Vote Zaine Hedge as your Chief Magistrate Judge for another 4 years, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you so much. It's been a true pleasure. Hey guys, this is Loving LeAnn here with Communi-T, and I have spoken to Judge Zaine Hedge, and this is an amazing man. Whatever he does, I know that he is going to be successful. Congratulations to that new addition that's coming, and just keep being great. However, we can support you. Please let us know. And we are a praying community. So I'm going to ask my audience members, our community and friends, to keep the Hedge family under the protection of God, that he continues to be led in faith, with integrity and excellence, and that he walks out his purpose, because we know that this man is a representation of such a bigger picture. And so it has truly, truly been an honor. So on this Friday night, thank you for joining me. I know you could have been doing a lot of other things just a long week and just relaxing, but I appreciate you. Thank you. Shout out to Eagle Vision Production for producing the show. AEG Radio, Loving LeAnn. You can hear me every Sunday from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch the replay on Monday from 7 to 9. Thank you to Georgia Injury Attorneys. Thank you to, I do not want to forget anyone, and I feel like I will fumble that ball. So it's been a long day for me too. I worked, so I want to make sure that I am not forgetting anyone. Oh, I did well. Yeah. And of course, I forget me, Euthenics Foster Professional Development, where we teach people how to treat people. We are just servant leaders out here coming into an organization, whether it's civic, whether it's a faith-based organization, C-suites, faith-based, stained glass to plain glass, wherever it is, people that want to enrich their interaction with others. We come in and do team building, communications, high-level customer care, wherever that is. I am the heartiologist, and I do the heart work of business. So, hey, if you ever need your girl, just reach out. I'm also the red carpet extraordinaire. I can put some pizzazz in any of your events as a host and MC. And if nothing else, thank you for letting me be part of your community. I love you. This is Loving LeAnn. Peace out.
I'm loving LeAnn.
I'm loving LeAnn.
I'm loving LeAnn.
I am loving LeAnn.
I'm loving LeAnn.